4 years ago, everyone thought that crypto gaming was the future. It was the hottest narrative of the entire bull market. But this time around, crypto gaming has literally been the worst performer in the market over the last couple of years. And in this video, I want to go over why this is crypto gaming in its current iteration and its current economics dead? And what can be done to flip the script in the narrative and actually flip back bullish on the future of gaming? Because I do believe that blockchain and games do have a future meshing together. However, the current model is broken. So let's go over exactly why crypto gaming has been doomed for the last few years, as well as back up steam in the future. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Before we get started, guys, be sure to drop down below, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more every single week here on In the Game. We have you covered from every top narrative in crypto, AI, crypto gaming, RWA, meme coins, airdrops. We have all the alpha for you, so be sure to like and subscribe down below. And of course, a big shout out to our sponsors here on In the Game. We have some incredible sponsors from Everreach Labs, 𝗪𝗚𝗏, as well as BLOFin. If you're not already trading on the #1 no KYC centralized exchange, I don't know what you're doing. They have $4 million up for grabs, as well as a Cybertruck, a trip to the Grand Prix, and right now also an ongoing competition to win an Omega watch. So if you are not already trading on BLOFin, there is a link down below in the description to go ahead and get started. And of course, you can also get started with a central or decentralized exchange with NEXUS. We have crypto, stocks, Forex, all of the major gold and different types of markets, as well as crypto, up to 100x leverage. And this is decentralized, so you fully custody your funds. So you can check out both of those down below in the description. Let's go ahead and jump into it. I wish we could talk about the market today, but we will have a market update tomorrow as to the things I'm looking at in the market, the positions I'm focused on, and what I think is coming in the next few weeks, because the market is gearing up for what looks like a run to potential all-time highs. But in this video, we are going to keep it pretty objective here, as yesterday, the Treeverse token went live. And this is really what has cascaded a lot of conversation on the crypto Twitter timeline about, is crypto gaming in its current form dead? And let's just look at it objectively here, as this token went live yesterday, the Treeverse token, which is end as in endless clouds, which is their studio. This was a highly anticipated game and token launch for quite some time. They're one of Immutable's flagship games. They had a lot going for it, and a lot of people thought this could be one of those games that, okay, could set the trend and set the narrative for the gaming cycle. However, this coin immediately went from $30 million market cap all the way down to $8 million market cap at its lows, which, as far as VCs and early investors, and I know a lot of communities that got involved with this one, it was highly anticipated, and of course did absolutely terrible on launch. Just to keep it completely 100% factual, it was a very disappointing launch. However, this is not really shocking. There's no retail interest in crypto gaming right now. There's no liquidity in crypto gaming right now. Everyone's chasing different narratives because, look, that's where the money is. And crypto, at the end of the day, is a money-driven industry, no matter how you shape it. Yes, I think that the tech of crypto gaming is absolutely phenomenal, but its edge to me over traditional gaming is the monetization of the in-game economics. That is just simply put, that is the reason I think anyone would lean towards a Web3 game over a Web2 game, right? That is just very much the truth. And anyone who tells you otherwise, I think, would be lying to you. I would rather go play a polished Web3 or Web2 game all day over a current Web3 game. However, Web3 gives you upside on your time. And you guys know, ever since 2021, when I started really diving deep into the crypto gaming industry before it was mainstream, that was the thing to me. I've had years, decades of gaming experience. And to me, I wasted a lot of time and a lot of money sinking into these games, and I get nothing back out of it. So whenever Web3 gaming came up, this just seemed like such a no-brainer to me, not only monetizing your skills in the game, but monetizing your time at the end of the day, because you can't get back the time that you put into these games. And this has been the cycle results for these different tokens. I mean, we see tokens down 95, 90. It's pretty ugly. These are different tokens that have launched this cycle as far as the crypto gaming niche. And look, we could pull up any given chart in crypto in gaming, and it looks absolutely ugly. So what is the fix here? So to answer the question, in its current form, it is absolutely dead. Crypto gaming, there's nothing right now out there, and there is games that are promising, right? We have MapleStory, we have Off the Grid, which I still have a lot of hope whenever Off the Grid goes fully into mainnet that it could be the game that captivates the cycle. However, there's really not a lot. The AAA games that have come out have all failed, and there's only a few games that are really keeping traction. We'll talk about that here in just a second, but we cannot keep running the same playbook of play to airdrop, VC-backed, horrible dilution tokens that add no value to the ecosystem and actually 90% of the time hurt it. So this is part of my crypto gaming fix, and I'm going to go over that in full in just a second. But when we look at the current model, this is what is happening. Every game, ever since this iteration of this industry, and I loved Jesus's comment on my tweet. The problem in gaming right now is companies don't want to build games. They actually just want to exit on retail, and that's why they launch their tokens at stupid valuations with crazy dilution, and the token goes nothing but down because there's no use case for the token. And of course, the studios themselves just want an exit route without having to, quote unquote, be a successful game and sell it somehow. So the game is rigged, and the faster that retail learns and starts trading with that mindset, the better the entire space becomes. And I completely agree. In 2021, there were actually a handful of games that were here, established, Sandbox, Decentralized, Illuvium, Axie. So that core group did extremely well on the market, and of course their games were highly sought after. People wanted to jump in and play, but now there's thousands of games in crypto. Maybe 10 of them are worth a crap, like and at all. That's just the realistic side of it, is that most of these games are absolute garbage, wanted to exit on retail, their team is not experienced, their game was terrible, or never released a game. So there's that whole side of the negativity. But moving forward, how do we actually fix this? So for me, I think, and I'll go back on this, that crypto gaming in its current form is dead. The way that we've gone about this industry for the last 3 to 4 years has to be changed. And for me, here is the change that I think needs to be iterated. So first and foremost, have a game. A lot of these games launch their token, don't even have a freaking product to go play. And some of these games, Endless Clouds and Treeverse included, are in like private stages. And yes, a lot of people, I myself, I've jumped into it, but it's not public enough and not viral enough to justify launching a token at $30 million market cap, because we just have to start getting more realistic with ourselves that there's not a lot of games in crypto worth $30 million. If maybe 3 games in crypto worth $30 million at this point in time. So that's number one. Have a product, because if you don't have a product, you're already shooting yourself in the foot. And of course your token's going to do terrible because you can't go do anything with it. So a lot of these tokens and problems come from the fact that there's no use case for the token. It only hurts the ecosystem. There's no need to spend it in the game. There's no need for anything. And then when it's a Ponzi game, it just collapses so fast. So the current form is just ridiculous with the in-game tokens, which leads me to the next couple of points here. Just simply build a game, release the game, and allow players to simply trade their assets, skins, weapons, abilities, etc. The token should not be the money-making monetization mechanism inside of a game. When we look across the space at certain games that are successful at this moment in time, mythical games with FIFA rivals, NFL rivals, with the upcoming PUBG world, they don't have an in-game token inside of their games. Just literally skins, characters, inventory assets, whatever the case is. You're able to just sell them to another player. And as I said here in this tweet, if the game is good and is actually worth playing, the market sets itself. So look, if your game's terrible and you go with this route, your assets are going to sell for 50 cents. But if you actually create a good game, community, economy that's worth delving into, then all of a sudden you could have a secondary market that's flourishing. And you might ask, well, how does the game make money? The same way games make money in Web 2, with just taking a back-end fee on every marketplace transaction. Build the marketplace, let players trade on it, and then boom, you can make that money on the back end. But the key point here is building a successful game, which, as Jesus's tweet pointed out, no one here is here to do that. They're just here to completely extract and dump on retail. So that is number one. Build a game, make a marketplace, let players trade, and their monetization method as a studio or a game should be just the marketplace fees. That puts a lot more emphasis on the game actually being good and worth playing. Number 2 point for me, so number 3, I guess, because we went over build a game that's worth playing. Number 2 is allow them to trade their assets, but don't use the native token as the monetization layer. So use a normal stablecoin or main chain token with less volatility as the settlement method. And I loved this tweet here from Luke from Medieval Empires about payments in your game should be easy. And when they look at their payment portal here, you can use G3, USDT, USDC, you can use their native token, Matic, Portal, Superverse. So find a currency in your game, or even just build it on stablecoin rails, because I think that is another thing. Whenever you take money out into any gaming coin, Gunzilla, for example, the off-the-grid token, when people are buying and selling in Gun, they're going to what? Sell the gun to take profit. So that whole thing has also never made sense to me. Why a game doesn't just come through and use an existing rail. Doesn't matter if it's a Avalanche, if it's a Ethereum, obviously Ethereum gas fees wouldn't work, but use a stable coin on any chain, USDC, USDT. That would be the settlement method of these different buys and sells on the marketplace. And that doesn't hurt the economy, and it doesn't hurt other players, and it doesn't hurt prices of assets whenever they see the fluctuations up and down of a certain token in the market. Also, this mechanic does not segregate players and investors. So if you look at traditional games like CSGO, they have a marketplace, and a lot of people literally just go in every single day to trade. But also the player base who doesn't care about trading or ripping loot boxes or whatever the case is, they're still there and they play every single day. It doesn't matter because they're not settling in CSGO coin. They're settling in a different currency. So this has never made sense to me, but I guess it does make sense because all of these gaming teams out here just want to take and they don't want to actually give. And that's the reason they raise money, launch a token, and then really from there, it's always downhill. So build a game, allow players to trade, take marketplace fees as your monetization method as a studio. Don't launch a native token. And if you do launch a native token, still use a different settlement method, because the settlement method being a native token of a game has really never ever worked. So please, let's quit doing that as an industry. And then on top of that, blockchain is actually the best mechanic to use on the back end of these games. No matter what. A lot of people, when we say crypto gaming's dead, I think the way that it's gone about itself is. However, the mechanic of using blockchain inside of these games is by far the best settlement, because you can store your assets securely. You can verify legitimacy of the assets. The transaction is peer-to-peer. No middleman, goes straight through. There's no frills about it. So using blockchain in games is absolutely the future. It's just we have a lot of work to do here to catch up to the mistakes that we've made, because now we've dug a big hole. And especially with traditional gamers who don't care and they think crypto's a scam, that hole is huge for crypto games to dig out of. The good thing is we do have some good examples, like I said, with Mythical Games. We see Off the Grid, which has been crushing it in marketplace volume. I don't like that it's settled in the Gunzilla token, but just the other day, someone deposited $5,000 to buy this asset here. We see Reaper Actual. This is an upcoming game from some of the guys that have built the first successful battle royale, which was H1Z1. This game looks pretty sick, if I have to say so myself. It's one that is on my radar. It's going to be built on Tezos, and from the looks of it, it does look like they have a good idea of how to go about this. The thing about it is we can't put on our fluorescent lenses here and get all persuaded until we actually see the proof, because we saw Midnight Society, Dr. Disrespect, and Infinity Ward devs, and that went under. So it's hard to get confidence when you just see these flashy things shown or like a demo, etc. But this does look pretty good and something to definitely look forward to. We see stuff like Wilder World, which is absolutely crushing it in the open world space, partnering up with Lamborghini, also getting the Black Hole on Avalanche, and also Wilder World is coming to Avalanche, which is very bullish. So there is some good stuff going on in gaming. But I do think it is about time to ask ourselves, if crypto gaming in its current form is dead? And the answer for that is yes. And we have a lot of work to do to get back to where people could look at crypto gaming as a actually legitimate sector, just because of the way that this has been treated over the last few years. It's probably been the easiest way to raise money over the course of time, maybe only second to AI. Like, you show someone a flashy game demo and these game founders or teams were probably able to raise millions and millions, just shovels full of money from these VCs. And I don't think that that's healthy for the future and sustainability of the industry. I think we really need to see a shift in the way that these games are built, the economics in these games, and also just actually delivering a game that people care about, because we've seen so much garbage over the course of time that, look, I mean, we see right now, like, people are saying there's only two kinds of games they remain bullish on. Web 2 focused games with Web 3 rails like Project O, Mythical Games, Reaper, Wildcard, and then like indie games that are really on chain like Tamagotchi, Gigaverse, On Chain Heroes, Fishing Frenzy. Very simple but mechanical games that actually make sense with their economy. So a lot of people are just filtering in like, I only care about this and this right now because nothing else works. And that's the stage we're at, unfortunately. And it does go back to, should you even invest in any crypto gaming tokens right now in this market? I think it's a double-edged sword. I think that right now the industry is beat down to just about its lowest point that it's ever been. Like, I think gaming sentiment, it honestly drops every week. There's something going on that just disrupts the industry. However, I do think that gaming is at a complete low point. And I think if you're willing to take a risk, willing to take a bet, I would really only be going down like 5 or 6 coins. Super, Prime, Ronin, Beam, IMX. Maybe you take a shot at like a Prime. I still hold Prime and I love Prime, but it is more of an individual game ecosystem and everything's just getting crushed right now. So there are a lot of good DCAs out there if you are willing to go out on a limb and bet on an industry and a sector that is really at its lowest point. It could be a good time, but for me, I wouldn't spread any more deep, than 3 to 5 tokens in crypto gaming at this point in time, especially if you're looking to add new positions to your portfolio. So crypto gaming isn't dead, but it certainly is on life alert if something doesn't happen very soon to flip the script on the way that these games are built and run from an in-game economics perspective. So that's my no BS. I didn't script this. I'm just running through, kind of rambling a little bit, but you guys know I've been a big fan of crypto gaming for quite some time. And I think doing this raw and not like some, crazy scripted, analysis, I have my, things that I hate, and I have high disdain for the way that this industry has taken a turn since 2021, with so many teams just coming in to extract money from the space rather than try to actually build a game. And you can see that by the way that they raise money and the way that the economics are set up. But I do think that there's tangible ways for us to get back on track here. I listed them out in this tweet, and I really hope we do start to see this, or else crypto gaming will not be inevitable anymore. Crypto gaming will be one of those things we look back on, like Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse. The whole thing that started the crypto gaming trend, the metaverse, back in 2021. Zuckerberg lost billions on that. That's not a thing anymore. Meta as a metaverse is done, dead. So the original concept that really fueled this industry is gone. And I think we really have to open our eyes to that. And that's why there's been so much struggles in this industry, number one, so many people chasing money in this industry, number two, and then number three, there has been no solution because everyone sees the playbook. If you're building and you just run it over and over again, make money, exit, your token just dumps into oblivion, and you move on to the next one. You probably slap a new anonymous profile picture on and go build another game. Say you worked for Riot Games, Epic Games, Activision, whatever the case is. So yeah, I'm rambling at this point, guys, but it does frustrate me where crypto gaming is right now, which is why we've really taken a turn. Like, I really only care about top chain layers and top protocols. Like, I could really care less about, investing into the next 100x, 1000x Axie infinity of this cycle, because there is not a next Axie. That is a narrative that has to be abandoned. There is only one Axie, and there's only been ever one Axie. And that's the biggest success, maybe the only long-term successful crypto game in the history of the industry, right? So there isn't a next Axie. What is going to be the first blank? Maybe it's Reaper Actual. Maybe it is off the grid. We will see over the course of time. But we will have you covered on this channel as well as these developments unfold, and I'll give you my full unfiltered thoughts, maybe with a little more structure than today's video. So guys, like the video down below and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on the gaming niche, because obviously it is down bad. And right now, if you were to say that crypto gaming is dead, I'm not going to argue with you. Right now it is, for sure. We need to see a resurgence, and we need to see a restructuring of how these things are built. So I'll see you guys tomorrow with a market update, much better vibes. And like I said, always play well, my friends. And of course, trade well, my friends.